Cheerleading is a very dynamic mix of a lot of different things actually. It's kind of a combination sport, so you have very acrobatic elements, tumbling, kind of gymnastic style elements in there. There's elements of dance and stunting as well, which can be kind of very physical.
For many, the word cheerleading means girls in short skirts standing on the sidelines of a football game, waving their pom-poms and doing the occasional cartwheel. Films such as Bring It On have coloured the way outsiders view cheerleaders, and in most cases it couldn't be further from the truth.
There are a lot of connotations to cheerleading. A lot of people have a misinformed view of what cheerleading is.
But no, it's not unlike that. It's literally not unlike that at all. Everything that you see in like the movies and that, it's just not. It's not just cheering people on because it's doing it with your team together as well. So you're not just cheering people on, you're cheering people on in your team. Like it's not just standing there on the field with pom-poms, which is what people think it is.
Competitive cheerleading has taken great strides worldwide in recent years, infiltrating the UK and becoming such a major part of many athletes' lives. But despite the physically demanding nature and hours of training it requires, cheerleading is not recognised as an official sport. In a comment from Sport England, they say they do not currently recognise cheerleading as a sport and does not fund cheerleading directly. Sport England has had discussions with several governing bodies over the last decade and urged them to form one single unified body to apply for recognition. They also say they are happy to continue these discussions should the cheerleading bodies wish. Athletes themselves, such as these competitors from Aviators Cheer in Leeds, advocate that cheerleading should, without a doubt, be recognised as a sport.
Like it's got all the disciplines of a sport, like running, tumbling. We compete against other people, like if a sport sort of lifting, weightlifting, throwing people basketball, we throw people, we don't throw balls, we throw actual people. So it's definitely a sport. It gets your energy up. So anything that is sort of getting your energy up and you're competing against people is a sport.
It's definitely a sport. There's a lot of physicality involved.
Anyone who actually comes and takes the time to watch a cheerleading routine, there's no doubt about it's definitely a sport. It's very athletic and very, very hard to do. There's a lot of dedication and time gone into the performances from the athletes.
Social media and online posts from the public show a very different opinion. To Liverpool's Star Spirit team, that's an insult. These girls work tirelessly to perfect their routine in time for competition season. The 2-minute performance consists of elements such as tumbling, jumps, dance and stunting, skills some of these girls have been learning since they were toddlers. Cheerleading competitions run worldwide, pitting teams against each other to win that sought-out trophy for first place. For many, the competitions are highlights of their times as a cheerleader.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 Dream Extreme champion, JMSU Royals!
Thousands compete over weekends from beginners level to the elite. Hours of training leads up to these events, with the hope of walking away as champions. Every year, the Cheerleading World Championships is held in Orlando, Florida, where the best of the best are invited to compete against each other. In 2018, England's mixed male and female team won first place for their show-stopping routine. They hope to do the same again this year. And now, cheerleading has received a major boost to be taken seriously, paving the way to worldwide acceptance. In 2016, news from the International Olympic Committee left the cheer community tumbling for joy. It was announced that cheerleading had been given provisional recognition as an Olympic sport, even though it's not being officially accepted as a sport in its own right. This meant that cheer will receive funding from the IOC to spend on training the cheerleading athletes of the future. Although this means it could take up to 7 years to become part of the Olympic Games, it's a step in the right direction.
There's so many sports like gymnastics, it incorporates gymnastics as well as other things, so if gymnastics is in the Olympics, it should be too.
Because if football's an Olympic sport, cheerleading's a lot more dangerous and it is a sport because you get your heart rate higher.
In a statement from the president of the International Cheer Union, Jeff Webb said this is a monumental milestone for cheerleading, creating opportunities for cheer athletes worldwide. But not everyone is jumping for joy, with some questioning whether becoming an Olympic sport would change the activity that is loved and supported by so many.
With regards to being recognised as an Olympic sport, it's a tricky one because there's a lot of prestige attached to the idea of being an Olympic sport, and you hear a lot in the cheerleading community of, why can't we be recognised as an Olympic sport? We want to be recognised as an Olympic sport. But actually, it's being recognised as an Olympic sport would have a lot of, I think, constraints to what the sport could be. I think a lot of the fun might get taken out of cheerleading. To be recognised as an Olympic sport, you have to have a lot of regulation, a lot of standardisation. It could be that to be recognised as an Olympic sport, cheerleading would have to become something quite different from what it is now. And one of the great things about cheerleading is the fact that it's exciting. There's almost a showbiz element to it as well. You're going out performing routines and to music and in front of audiences, all that kind of stuff. And whilst there's no doubt in kind of the level of athleticism that you see in the sport, it's up there with gymnastics, any of that kind of stuff. I'm not so sure actually whether I think it should be.
So if I hadn't done my name, I reckon I could have been on TV.
One person who was thrilled about the idea of cheerleading becoming a part of the Olympics one day is Dominique Niverton. Dominique has had years of both cheerleading and coaching experience, tumbling her way to the top of some of the best local teams.
So I first started cheering when I was 11, I think. I was a gymnast before that. Gymnastics became kind of more of a chore, so I didn't enjoy it. So I had a few friends that went over to cheerleading from gymnastics, so I just followed them. So I've been doing it ever since. So I'm now 22, so that's 11 years. From all the sports I've done in my entire life, so I've done quite a lot, not all gymnastic-y based. I've done tennis and karate and a various amount of sports. Cheerleading is by far the most physically demanding. You have to be physically fit, you have to be mentally fit, and it just takes a whole lot out of you, both physically and mentally. I think that's why it should be an Olympic sport.
There has been an overwhelming support amongst the cheerleading community, but few doubters do remain so welded to the idea that it is more of an American high school entertainment activity rather than a highly skilled craft. The growing popularity of cheerleading in the UK is allowing the once sideline activity to reach new heights. Regardless of the negative responses from some of the public, athletes are determined to be taken seriously and show what competitive cheerleading is really about.